What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to Joe TV, live from Myrtle Beach. Let's check this here. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. And yeah, man. So we've got our swapping and dropping, so to speak, done, out of the way. We're on a 30-minute break now. Trying to see how the signal's going to do down here because the weather is like really bad, and there's been a break in the rain. So it's actually not rain. It was just barely drizzling right now. Let's see if we can look at them clouds, man. See what I'm talking about? This phone picks it up really good with the clouds. But I'm telling you, man, I was in some heavy duty stuff coming down here. Real bad stuff. Hey, Manny, what's going on, man? And see if I can get back over here in this area. It's just seems like you have to really kind of pick and choose where you walk through. It's just barely drizzling right now. I was getting nervous, man, when I got down here. Yes, Bruce, I understand, man. I got you. How you doing, man? And hey, Mr. Jamie, Vintage Sounds, how was your day? It's halfway over with, my friend. Still got another half to go. When you see me live down here, my day is half over. I still have another half to go. Mike Ray Bab Connection. I'll check back later. Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Ray. It's like I said, the weather down here is pretty crappy. So yeah, it's like I said, just literally just right down the road. It is storming big time. I don't know if it's moved through here or what. I don't know, but I was kind of nervous there. I was like, man, you gotta be kidding me. I figured I was gonna be getting drenched is what I figured was gonna happen, you know. I figured I was gonna be getting drenched the whole time. Dave and Johnny said hi. Tell Dave and Johnny I said hello. I was listening to them earlier. I sure was. I was listening to my boys on the way down here. So I went ahead and got on this 30-minute break. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Mr. Bishop is on. Hey, Mr. Bishop. Oh, okay, Mr. Bishop says, hey, Joe, I just got that YouTube live stream on my tablet and was playing with it. Yeah, man, it's really cool. It's a cool deal, man. It's a cool deal once you kind of get the hang of it and everything. It's really cool, man. I enjoy it. I haven't done a live stream in a while because, well, it's been a few days, I guess. I think the last one I did was over the weekend when I was at home. Out here, it's always kind of a hit and miss kind of deal. You just can't never tell. So as you can see, I'm back in the truck now, and it's going back and forth from poor connection to regular. It's just, it can't make up its mind what it wants to do. And like I said, the weather is not helping either, I believe. It's a shame. What is the deal with the can anybody tell me the information about the explosion at some kind of venue in, hey, Brintsy Rocks. I heard somebody say that on Johnny's, beginning of Johnny's show. Some kind of explosion at some venue somewhere, and where was that? England or? I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, man. Was that a concert or was that? Does anybody have any information? That was first I heard about it. I was like, huh? I didn't know. Mr. Bruce is doing the split screen. Oh, I seen they had a post on CNN. Mr. Bishop says, Mr. Bruce says, Manchester concert. Oh my goodness. 19 perished, 50 injured. Now who was playing? Does anybody know who the, not that that really matters, but I mean, does anybody know who the band was, or was this like some big band, or was it just some kind of local thing, or? Oh man, Bruce says 60 kids at Manchester Inn either separated from parents or perished parents. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my god. That's awful, man. Brincy Rocks has an update. Manchester explosion, 19 confirmed perished and 50 injured following Arena Grande concert explosion being treated as a terrorist incident as eyewitnesses described chaos and horror. Oh my gosh, man. Oh man. That's a shame, man. Is that oh man, that's a shame. Oh my gosh, man. My heart and prayers go out to those people, man. That's just, oh god almighty. Why, I don't understand people that do that kind of thing, you know. Excuse me. Pardon me, I'm sorry. I don't have my mute button on here. I never understood that, why people like that would want to harm innocent people. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. And it makes no sense to me. Makes no sense whatsoever. I don't understand people, man. That's just, this world has gotten really tough. Just like when you know, of course, everybody remembers 9/11. I think everybody kind of remembers where they were on 9/11. I know I do. I know where I remember where I was on 9/11. That was, what, 2001? And it was creepy, man. It was, me too, Mr. Brent. Yeah, I feel sorry for those people too, man. That's just, there's no sense in that act of terror like that. That's just, that's like 9/11. It was on a Tuesday. I remember that because I was off that day. My days off used to be Sunday and Tuesday. And 9/11, I was at work making calls to New York, Mr. Bruce says. Wow. Man. Yeah, I remember that was a Tuesday, and I, for some reason, I was taking my son. Let's see, how old was he then? He was 11. Yeah, he was 11 then. And for some reason, I was taking my son up to my parents in North Carolina, and I was on I-40, Interstate 40. Yes, Mr. Bishop, thank you very much, man. Ariana Grande concert. Okay, thank you, man. And at that point in time, I had a, what was that, a 95 Ford Ranger I had. It was like polo green. And it had just the stock stereo that was, at this point in time, I didn't have a CD player. It was just a stock stereo that came with the truck. It was just a regular stereo, you know, no CD player, no nothing. And I already had it set on a news channel. You start listening to news a lot when you drive a truck. When you drive all the time, man, you'll listen to like news and stuff like that. I haven't listened to it a lot lately, apparently, because I didn't know what was going on tonight, but I used to listen to it all the time, news radio and stuff. So I already had a station programmed in my truck for a Charlotte station. We was riding up the road, and again, this is 9/11 when I found out about what had happened. And Brent says, I was at work listening to the Today Show. It happened live. Oh, I've seen that on YouTube, man. Oh my God. I've actually looked that up, you know, some things like that on YouTube just to see the news clips of, you know, when people reported it live. I saw that, the Today Show episode. Oh man, that was something else. But my son and I, like I said, he was 11 at the time. And he had, like, you remember those personal CD players, you know, that the kids had back then, and he had his headphones on. He was in the passenger seat. And he was listening to a CD, and I was just riding along, you know, just in drive mode, just driving along. And something told me to turn the radio on. You know, I was like, I wonder what's going on with the news, you know. I turned the radio on. About for the first 10 minutes, it was just regular news, you know, news, weather, sports, all that stuff that you hear. And then a breaking thing came through, and it said, you know, that a plane had hit the World Trade Center. Well, the reports were kind of shady in the beginning because I think the guy at first said that a plane had clipped the antenna or something on the World Trade Center or something. And I was kind of like, huh? You know, and then they said, well, a plane has hit the top of the World Trade Center. And I was like, man, it's a pretty day. I'm sure it's pretty up in New York. You know, I said, how does a plane do that? You know, how does he get off course like that? You know, just like everybody else was thinking that, you know. And a few minutes passed by, and then sure enough, it was confirmed that the plane did hit the building, you know, and everybody was kind of thinking it was an accident or something. And then what was it? I don't know, what, 20, 30 minutes later or something, the other plane hit. And when that happened, I knew right then, I said, man, something is not right. Something is not right. And it was a freaky feeling, man. It was weird. And then, of course, the Pentagon and, you know, the other plane that went down in the out there in the field. It was crazy, man. It was scary, you know, because you knew that was for real. That wasn't no movie, you know. And when that happened, I was still on the interstate, and I won't never forget this. It's just embedded in my brain. I won't never forget when 9/11 happened, because I was driving on that certain stretch of interstate, man. I was driving, and for just a few minutes, there was nobody in front of me, as far as I could see. There was nobody behind me, and there was no traffic coming the other direction. So it was, you know, for a couple of minutes there, it was like I was the only soul on that interstate, you know, which eventually, you know, you saw traffic. But for that brief moment, it was just, man, it was weird, man, because I remember hearing that stuff on the radio. I was looking out the window, trying to look up in the sky. I was like, man, we're being attacked, you know. You didn't know what to think. You didn't know what to do, you know. And so I made it to my parents, and my dad wasn't there at the time. He was actually working, and my mom come outside and said, come in the house and look at this on the news. Now, you got to remember, at this point in time, I haven't seen nothing. All I've heard is what was on the radio, so I haven't seen no visual images whatsoever until I got to my parents' place. And we got inside, and she had the TV on, of course. And I saw the two buildings, you know, they were still smoking. They were still standing, but they were smoking, you know, from where the planes hit them. And it was showing the replays of the footage, you know. And I was like, my God, you know. And then, you know, you saw the people that jumped. You know, when I saw that, man, that sent chills down my spine, man. I couldn't believe I was seeing that, you know. That was scary. And then, of course, the buildings fell, you know, and it was just, you know, so all this act of terrorism and stuff going on, I don't understand what these people are trying to accomplish, man. I don't know. I know one thing, after 9/11 happened, a bunch of places sold a lot more guns, because I went and got me one. Heck yeah, buddy, I went and got me one. I went to the pawn shop, man, like, what was that, a day or two after that stuff happened? I went to the pawn shop and got me a .357, partner. I sure did. And then later on down the road, I got some more stuff, you know. And, but yeah. And isn't it kind of wild, man, how, I don't know about anybody else where you live, or, you know, your area. My nose is itching for some reason, man. But, for about a good 2 weeks, where I lived at back then, everybody had those flags on their windshield. You know how you put them on there and roll your windshield up or whatever. Had them little flags on them little plastic staffs, and had them on both doors, and people ride down the road. Everybody was real, you know, patriotic, and everybody banded together, and I was like, yeah, man, this is what I'm talking about, you know. About 2 weeks of that, and then that kind of slowly faded out. And I was like, man, that's a shame that it takes some sort of tragedy to bring people together, you know. Thank God people do come together, but it's a shame that it takes something like that for that to happen. Brent C. Rock says, I live by an airport, and all airplanes were grounded for a week. That was crazy. Yes, everything was grounded. I remember that. There wasn't nothing coming or going. Yes, I remember that. That was spooky, man. Just think of all those people that were depending on, their flights to for either business or to get home or whatever. And I was just, man, golly. So that was something else, boy. But that's where I was on 9/11. I will never forget that. I was on the interstate going to my parents about 3 hours and some change away when that happened. And I like to ask other people, there's friends that work here. I've asked them, do you remember where you were at on 9/11? Because, when, big things in history, when they happen like that, people usually remember where they were at. I remember asking my father, does he remember where he was when Kennedy got assassinated? He said, yes, I do. He said, I was walking home from school. And I was like, wow, My mom, she's a year older than my dad, so she was already out of high school. I asked her that same question. She said, yeah, she was on her first job out of high school. She was like working in some office or something, and that came on the radio. And she said everybody went in there at that one room and listened to the radio about Kennedy, being assassinated. And I was like, man. So yeah, I never thought in my lifetime, there would be something that would happen that would something in history that would be life-changing as far as history goes. I never thought, you think about something like that, you think about something that was in the history books, well, this happened then, World War II, Pearl Harbor and Kennedy, and that was awful, but that stuff would never, sure enough, look what's going on, man. Some crazy stuff happening. Mr. Bruce says trauma locks in memory. You ain't kidding. Mr. Bishop is saying something here. He says, my wife had to take her mom downtown, and she said she was freaky to her was the National Guard was on each corner. Yeah, oh man, golly. That's something, isn't it? That's like, y'all remember that movie Red Dawn? the original, not the remake, but the original, with Patrick Swayze and C. Thomas Howell and what's that woman's name that was in Dirty Dancing? She was in that movie. Rencie says that was biblical. Yeah, it was. That's what this stuff reminds me of. That movie Red Dawn. It makes me think of that movie, and that was in the 80s, man. I mean, it was just a movie, but still, I was like, man, it just goes to show you what could happen. Hopefully never, hopefully nothing like that would ever happen, but it just goes to show you, man, it makes you think, it's like, my God. And, I don't know, it just, what do you do, man? I mean, it just, is it that easy to infiltrate stuff here in America for people that are evil? I'm like, man, you gotta be kidding me, man. And the bad thing is that it makes all that just, that group of people, it just makes them all look bad, and that's not right either, but man, golly. So yeah, it's weird how things can change, man, at the drop of a hat. It really is. It's crazy. It really is. Mr. Bishop says, think about what it would be like if a power grid went out and took them 5 years to get it back up. Oh my God. You wouldn't be watching this. I don't think we'd be watching anything. I have heard stories about that, man, about a, what is that, like a blackout or something? Because you think about it, man, so many things depend on technology nowadays. For instance, YouTube, streaming live and all that stuff depends on computers, and if that malfunctioned, man, it would mess up a lot of stuff. It wouldn't really mess things up. It would really throw things back, a good 20 years, Yes, you're right, Mr. Brent. Yeah. The Vigilant. What's going on, man? How are you, sir? Yeah, it was, if they had like a blackout or something like that, man, that would be crazy, man. I'm like, golly. And I was like, what's weird, man, is a small example of that. You wouldn't be able to pump gas, Michael Bishop says. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't, yeah, that's right. You wouldn't, there'd be a lot of stuff you couldn't do, man. A small example of that, I was, man, this was what was this, about almost a year ago. I was coming back from here. I was probably about maybe, I don't know, about a hour and 20 minutes from getting back to the dairy, to my destination. And in that area, I always have a real good signal in this one area of the interstate I'm talking about. Unlike right here at this area. But and I was going down the road, and I just glanced at my phone. I didn't have any bars. I didn't have a signal. I didn't have anything. I didn't have nothing. And I was like, man, what's going on? Why is it? And because I remember there was a tower right there where I got from one interstate onto another interstate. There's a tower right there in that general vicinity. And I was like, man, how come I can't? I couldn't use the phone. I couldn't do anything. You couldn't send a message. You couldn't do nothing. And come to find out, a buddy of mine that works here, his brother has his own company where he services cell phone towers. And he told me the next day that his brother and his crew were working on that tower right there in that area I was just talking about, and they had to shut it down to do maintenance on it. And when they do that, they do it between between 1 and 4 a.m. or something like that, where it's not the peak hours of operation, I guess. So that tower was down for 3 or 4 hours. And eventually, when I got further down the road and got jumped on another tower, but it took quite a while. I said, now that's what it would be like if all the cell towers just malfunctioned or something. These devices wouldn't be worth anything because you couldn't use them. You have to go back to the day of having a landline in your house. And actually calling somebody from a landline. And that's crazy, man. I remember those days. And then but it wasn't that long ago, but it kind of is, but it really isn't. And how things have advanced that much in that amount of time is unbelievable. Who thought you could have a device like this and do a live show from just about anywhere? If you would have told me that when I was 16, 17 years old, I would have said you was crazy. There's no way. That's only in the movies. Morse code, Vigilant says. Yeah, can you imagine? Golly, man. Can you imagine if there was some more advanced technology back in the Titanic era? They could have probably, they wouldn't have hit that iceberg. They would have missed it, and all them people would have survived. But you're talking way, way, way years and years ago, and it was just, you had a guy on a, what they call it, the crow's nest up there at the top, looking out on a foggy night, cold, looking out, and you can't see nothing, Hey, JJ Collins, how are you doing, sir? Yeah, Morse code, man. That's, I was like, how the heck do people understand that? All that. It's like, sounds like they're going a million miles an hour. How do you decipher any of that stuff? But just the way things were back then, that's the way it was, But yeah, it's crazy, man. I remember where I was on 9/11, that's for sure. I'll never forget that. I hope to God nothing like that ever happens again. Man, golly. And then here we are, that stuff happening in England or whatever. That's a shame, man. That is a shame. Golly, there's no sense in that stuff. Man. Good gracious alive. But anyway, how much time do I have left? Should be pretty close. Let's see. Oh, look at there. 2 minutes. I knew it was close. 2 minutes, man. 2 minutes, and we're getting ready to wrap up and get out of here. Oh, by the way, real quick on this, what's the name? He always said that. Chuck Willery. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Well, actually, we'll be gone in 2 and 2. But real quick, man, for everybody that's in here, and I guess people that watch the replay too, but there is a new guitar lesson that'll be posted tomorrow. I did it today. I actually do the lesson, and after that lesson video is the actual video of me playing with a jam, a backing track. So I think the video altogether is going to clock in just under 10 minutes. So you got the first half of me kind of showing you how to play it, and then the second half is me actually playing the song with a backing track. So that's coming tomorrow if you're interested in checking that out. It's nothing, you know, it's not nothing real advanced or nothing like that, because I can't play that stuff anyway. So that's coming tomorrow. I've already got that. I just didn't have time to upload it to YouTube before I left the house. I got everything edited and got it together, and it saved to my computer. But then when you take that and upload it to YouTube, that's what takes so long. That takes for, man, I don't know why that takes so long. It's like I think like what is it, like a 5 or 6 minute video. It takes close to an hour, maybe just under an hour. It does on my end anyway. So this video is close to 10 minutes. So I was like, my God, that's gonna be like what, an hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes just to upload. So, you know, if I can get back home at a decent time tonight, I'll try to upload it tonight. That way it'll be there if y'all would like to see that tomorrow. And so here's a hint. I'll throw a hint out there. I'm not going to tell you what song it is, but here's a hint. If you're a fan of Elvis Presley, hopefully you'll like this lesson. That's all I'm going to say. The rest of it, you'll have to watch. Wait till tomorrow to watch, or whatever, to check it out. So I thought we would kind of go back to the good old days of early rock and roll, you know. Bruce is saying something. Mr. Bruce says, Joe, you do a great job on all your videos, man. I'm so impressed. Bruce, thank you, man. I appreciate those kind words, brother. Especially on the guitar lesson videos, man. I know it's not a real professional thing, like I've said before, but that's all I have to work with, man. I don't have nothing real fancy, but you know, if somebody can learn something, man, that's what it's all about, you know. If somebody can learn a little something, hey, man, why not? You know, I mean, you know, I don't know a whole lot. You know, did y'all see that video of Joe Suma playing Mr. Craig's that 5150 stealth model or whatever? God almighty, man, he was tearing that thing. I was like, oh God. And then what's the guy's name? Peter? Suma, yeah, Insane Suma Ninja, yeah. And then Peter, I can never pronounce his last name. Is it Karaku or I can't pronounce. I'm not sure I pronounce it, but and he played 5150 over the what was that, Sunday? I was like, man, I can't touch that stuff, man. You know, I was like, that is so cool, man. I like to watch people play that, you know, because I just wish I could play like that. But, you know, it's all good, man. It's all about having fun, you know, and I have fun playing, man. I have a good time doing it, you know, and if I can do a couple little lessons here and there and it helps somebody learn something, that's awesome. You know, that's a cool deal, man. We all learn from people. All right, that's it. My break is up. It is 10 o'clock straight up. It's time to go. Thank y'all very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and hope y'all have a great rest of the night. I got to get out of here for the storm comes back through. I need to get back down the road, get out here and lock this gate so I can go. I gotta call my father too. My father told me to call him. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bruce. Appreciate it, man. Y'all have a good night, and look for the lesson video tomorrow. It should be, if not tonight, it'll be uploaded tomorrow. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Collins. Thank you, Mr. Brent. And thank you, everybody who jumped on. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. God bless y'all. Love you guys. Take care. Check it out later. TheJoeWisProject.com. Bye-bye.